Ever since Daniel Craig departed as 007, there's been a debate raging about who's going to take over as the next James Bond. Everyone talks about it all the time. So American actress Sydney Sweeney was asked, would you like to be a Bond girl? And she said, no, I don't want to be a Bond girl. I want to be James Bond himself, or indeed herself. So how would you feel about the next James Bond being played by a woman, and not just any old woman, an American woman? And if not Sydney Sweeney, who do you think should take on the role? We'll start with James. What do you think? Are we ready for a female James Bond?
No.
Bond? No?
No.
Why not?
Because it's James Bond.
Yes, I know, but things change.
So if you want to
We've had a female Doctor Who.
So if you want to create another movie, Jane whatever, then create another movie that is similar to James Bond, but with a female actress. That's fine, but don't mess about with James Bond. It's a man, and he's British, and you could be played by an American actor. If he puts on a British accent, fabulous. But that is what we know. I'm a massive Bond fan, so please don't change everything just because you're trying to tick a box. And yes, we've got to have a woman do it now, or we've got to have this. It's for me, it's ridiculous. The world's gone mad. Stop messing about with everything all the time. James Bond is a man.
But we've had Helen Mirren in Prime Suspect, and we've had all these incredibly effective
Wonder Woman be played by a man.
Well, they already did that. That was Superman, wasn't it?
No, but I want it to be Wonder Woman.
Oh, gosh.
That's what I'm saying. It's James Bond. Don't mess with it.
But would it be a good way of kind of livening it up, refreshing it, giving it a different perspective?
No.
And it would be sexy, and it would be... No, okay.
No.
OK. Rebecca, what do you think?
I'm not as staunch as James on this, but I do think I love gender-bending roles. I love Fiona Shaw playing Hamlet and Richard III. I think that works brilliantly. And I don't think these things should stay as archetypes. But there is something about James Bond. He has already evolved. The Ian Fleming books were so sexist and bigoted and racist, and there were they were very problematic. But he is supposed to look like a man that could kill you in 3 seconds with his hands. Sydney Sweeney is gorgeous, but I wouldn't suspect that she could kill me. I do think we need roles like this for women. I loved the Salt role that Angelina Jolie played, where she was a CIA agent, and Helen Mirren. But I think have equal to him, but have him and another. I liked M as a woman. I thought Judi Dench was
because
brilliant.
that was a big deal when they made M a woman. That was a
and
big
it
deal.
worked brilliantly.
And people thought it was unthinkable. Some people really objected to it, but actually, James, it did work.
100%, but not James Bond.
Right. Jemma, is James Bond somehow untouchable?
Slightly untouchable. I think so. I have no problem with James Bond being any colour of skin, but I think he's a man and I think he's British for me. And I think that Bridget Jones is an iconic female character. We don't need a male version. Because I'm coming at this from a slightly writerly point of view. I think when you've created a character, a protagonist within your novel or your film or whatever, go and write something else. You know, like there's the Bourne Identity, for instance. You don't need... But there are some other amazing films with female superheroes who are just absolutely kick-ass. They're brilliant. They're so good. So I'm all for that. But I think don't be lazy. Don't take the franchise and just keep bleeding it dry with... Or it could be James Bond's cousin. And then it's Sydney Sweeney. She's been raised in the States and she's got a totally different name. That I would buy.
James Bond's daughter.
James Bond is... exactly. I think that would work. I feel like Doctor Who's slightly different because it's science fiction. I feel like Shakespeare, you can play around with.
Some people really never did take to the female Doctor Who, did they? They never quite bought it, not really. I mean, she's an excellent actress, but people weren't really... They weren't somehow enraptured necessarily. I mean, if anyone watching was enraptured, then it's up to you. But I think people felt a sort of resistance and a kind of hesitancy about it, didn't they, really?
I liked Sydney Sweeney's response, though. I felt like just in the moment, she's like, no. Because I guess by being asked, do you want to be a Bond girl, it's playing into that you're a beautiful accessory to an extent. And she's like, no, I want to be main character energy. So I do understand why she said that.
Does anyone think it's time to say goodnight, Mr. Bond? It's enough already. We've just had too many of them. It's been going on for years, and they made it grittier, they made it less gritty, they made it very gentlemanly and suave, then they made it very sort of butch and kind of, macho, and we've seen it, we've done it, and everybody should move on.
I think they tried to end it. I think they tried to end it with the last Craig one, Daniel Craig one, but I do think we're in such a depressing world at the moment. A little bit of James Bond would be a bit fun. I really want to see the Union Jack on a bulldog and it to be happy and proud. I don't want to see it being touted by people that I don't necessarily align with politically. I want to be proud, and I think James Bond digs into
I
that.
want to see Idris Elba. After seeing him in Hostage, I think
amazing,
he
yeah.
would be the most amazing James Bond. And as you say, there were two things you were supposed to believe, that he could kill a man with his bare hands, like Sean Connery, but so charming they could charm anyone into bed. And I think Idris Elba could do that in that role.
And do you think that James Bond still has its unique appeal, whatever that is?
Yeah, I think so. And just when you think that they're not going to better one of the... Like with Daniel Craig, he came out and I was like blown away with how good the movies were.
Right.
I personally think Jason Statham, I know he'd never get it because he's probably not...
You think too old now?
You were twins. Look at you. You're exactly the
He's
same.
got a kind of
No
rugged
wonder you
appeal.
think that.
I
He's not
like his
suave.
ruggedness about
He's
him,
not
yeah.
suave enough.
I want Henry
Yeah, maybe.
Cavill.
People said that about Daniel Craig, that he wasn't smart.
Yeah, that's
maybe.
true.
They
Yeah.
said he was rough and ready
Yeah.
and he wasn't gentlemanly enough and and all of that kind of thing. Let's talk to Angela in Derbyshire about this. Angela, could Sydney Sweeney nab the role and make James Bond a lady?
No, I don't think so. I think it definitely has to stay male and a man. Definitely. It has
Why?
to have that.
So sexist.
It's just... no, not at all.
Why does
No,
it
I
have
just
to
think
stay a man, do you think?
It has that that thing about it, you know. It is the saviour, the man who can just do everything he can. I don't know. It just has to be the male and a nice-looking man, really. But I do like, say, I think Vera, do you know the show Vera? I do think that is the only role, not the only role, obviously. I do think Vera is amazing
Brenda
in that
Blethyn.
role. She's...
Oh, Vera,
Yeah, she's
Brenda Blethyn. What, to be James? She's delightful.
Oh, no,
but
not James Bond. Oh, no, that's
no.
not James Bond. But I love that kind of a detective thing.
a female detective you like, but you wouldn't buy a female James Bond, Angela. Who do you think should be the new James Bond then?
Oh, I don't know, you know. I've got no idea.
Okay, well, thank you for calling and thank you for your conviction on this. Let's go to Audrey in Edinburgh. What do you think, Audrey?
I think James Bond should be male.
Yeah,
and shouldn't be a female.
right.
And they should do a separate series if they want a female James Bond. I don't know why in the world today that women want to compete with men. Women will always be weaker than men in the physical sense because men have got naturally more muscles, and it's that way. That is the way it is. And I wish men to be men and women to be women. And I do think let the man who wants to be James Bond be a man. And personally, I think be a white man because that's the book and that's the way it was. And make different series for different types of James Bonds if they want.
Yeah, but I mean, we
the
had Sean
original
Connery
James
and he
Bond
wasn't
is the
Scottish,
best.
was he? I mean, you know, they've already played fast and loose with the book in absolutely every single way. So I don't
Well,
think...
probably.
Pierce
but I do
Brosnan's
think he
Irish.
should be fine.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. As my
Daniel
colleague
Craig
said
is
there.
blonde.
Yeah, Daniel Craig's blonde. Pierce Brosnan's
Brosnan's
Irish.
Irish.
Sean Connery's Scottish. Roger Moore, I think, for me, was just the ultimate because he was such a British gentleman and he seemed like the right kind of fellow. But I don't know if colour of skin has anything to do with it, Audrey, but it's interesting to hear your perspective. Thank you so much. Thanks for the calls on that one. Don't go anywhere.